Let's have a look at a fragment from Harry Potter and the Philosopher's Stone.
The Dursleys had everything they wanted, but they also had a secret, and their greatest fear was that somebody would discover it. They didn't think they could stand it if anyone found out about the Potters. Mrs. Potter was Mrs. Dursley's sister, but Mrs. Dursley pretended she didn't exist. What would the neighbors think if the Potters arrived in the street?
When we tell a story, either personal or in a novel, we use the past simple. As you can see, some verbs are regular, so we simply need to add ed. And some verbs are irregular, so we need to memorize their form in the past. Now have a look at this conversation.
Hey, I'm back. Any interesting news in my absence?
Yeah, I've just finished my exams. I'm free.
That's not interesting. I've got some good news. Last week I had a job interview at Nintendo and I got the job. I've worked there for 3 days.
Wow, congratulations. That has always been your dream job. What about you, Mike?
I've broken up with Emily. I've never felt so alone.
This conversation has lots of verbs in the present perfect. As you can see, we form the present perfect with have or has and the past participle. Do you remember the typical list of verbs with 3 columns? Well, the past participle is the 3rd column. For example, she has started a business. I have seen that film before. My friends have never drunk beer. Now it's your turn. Ken has already eaten. Have you ever met George? They have never been to college. Well done! So when do we use the past simple and when the present perfect? If the action has not finished, we use the present perfect.
I have lived in this house for 3 years. She has worked as a doctor since 2002. They haven't finished their homework yet.
It makes sense to use the present perfect. I still live in this house. She still works as a doctor. And they are still doing their homework. I need the present perfect because the action is still happening in the present. By the way, it's really common to use the present perfect with for, since, and yet. Of course, if the action is finished, we use the past simple.
I lived in this house for 3 years. She worked as a doctor from 2002 to 2008.
Do we always use the past simple when the action has finished? No, it depends. Sometimes we use the past, sometimes we use the present perfect. Although there are many mini rules, I think there is a general rule that we can always apply. If we want to focus on the past, we use the past simple. If we want to focus both on the past and the present, we use the present perfect.
I've had an accident. Ben has just arrived. They have already eaten.
We use the present perfect when the action is recent, especially if there is a connection with the present or if it has a result in the present. That is, the action is still important in the present. I have had an accident, so now I'm in hospital, or I have had an accident, so now my leg hurts. Ben has just arrived. Now that he is here, he can help you. They have already eaten. You don't need to cook for them, or they have already eaten. That's why there's no food. By the way, it's common to use the present perfect with just and already. So, when the action is recent and there is a connection with the present, we use the present perfect.
I've had an accident.
When?
Last week, I was distracted and fell down the stairs.
I've had an accident is a recent action. So why is he using the past simple in his second sentence? Read the sentence carefully. Is he focusing on the past or on the present? If I say last week, then I'm focusing on the past. When I include the time period, that is, when I specify when something happened, I use the past simple. Another example.
Are the kids still upstairs? Aren't they coming down?
They're in their room. They have already eaten.
Already? It's really early.
They were hungry. They ate an hour ago.
Look at the sentence. Am I focusing on the past or on the present? Again, I use the past because I mentioned when it happened, an hour ago. When I say an hour ago, I'm only thinking about the past. So for recent actions, present perfect. Except if I mention the time period. Now it's your turn.
I have sent an email to my boss.
Why?
I want a pay rise. I've been polite, don't worry. I wrote it with my sister's help when she came in the morning.
I have sent an email is a recent action. However, I wrote it with my sister's help is in the past because I specified the time period when she came in the morning. Don't worry, only one more rule.
I have been to Indonesia twice. Kate has never been to a concert. Have you ever ridden a horse?
In these examples, we don't know if the action is recent, but it doesn't matter because we use the present perfect when we are talking about life experiences. In all my life, I have been to Indonesia twice. In all her life, Kate has never been to a concert. And I want to know if in all your life, you have ever ridden a horse. By the way, it's really common to use the present perfect with never and ever. Now it's your turn.
I have been to Peru once.
Really? I have never been there. Tell me more about your trip.
Well, I went there with my best friend 3 years ago. We spent 2 weeks visiting the country. It was amazing.
How did it go? I hope it went well. Do you remember the first conversation? Why are we using the present perfect? I've just finished my exams is a recent action. I've worked there for 3 days. The action hasn't finished. I'm still working there. That has always been your dream job is a life experience. I've broken up with Emily is a recent event. And I've never felt so alone is a life experience. If you find it confusing, then remember the general rule. If you're only thinking about the past, use the past simple. If you're also thinking about the present, use the present perfect. See you!